Hey everybody, it's Sneakcap here, and in this video, we have some huge Retribution Paladin news coming out today from Blizzard. Blizzard has announced upcoming Ret Paladin rework coming in patch 10.0.7 on survival. That'll be this spring on survivability, utility, and more. Let's read through this and give some reactions here. We're doing a substantial rework to the Retribution talent tree. Rebuilding the Retribution talent tree from the ground up means significant changes ahead. However, the talent tree itself will not be available in our first PTR builds, so initial testing on the PTR will be missing important context. Nonetheless, we'd like to share our major goals for Retribution with you. This will be big. It's going to be a lot of changes, it sounds like. I'll be with you every step of the way. Button bloat. Retribution Paladins currently have a fairly large number of abilities, and some of these feel unnecessary and inefficient. We're working to tone this down and have a more focused set of abilities and cooldowns. I totally agree. A lot of people like buttons, and I think the people that have stuck with Ret Paladin all this time generally are like, well, I like having a lot of buttons to press. But when you look at other classes that are really strong, such as like Demon Hunter, and you compare the amount of buttons, it's kind of ridiculous. Stacking modifiers. There are currently several talents and abilities that provide stacking bonuses, which can make for a confusing and messy playstyle that deals extreme burst damage, but in return leaves your core abilities feeling unsatisfying and undertuned. We intend to significantly change this. We want your core abilities to feel good and powerful when used in all situations. This doesn't mean you're reducing all elements of burst damage, but we do want to make burst more purposeful and deliberate, while also allowing options to provide sustained damage. So when I read this, what I think of is the whole idea that, okay, we're going to press Seraphim. We're holding our Seraphim until 1 minute. We're going to Seraphim. We're going to use Final Reckoning. We're going to do that when there's 10 stacks of Crusade up first, if we're doing it during our wings. And we have to have all these things stacked. Of course, we want our Dawn buff up. And we have all these things that have to go perfect. Then we do a big amount of damage. Then we do nothing. And then we do a big amount of damage. And then we do nothing. And that's kind of what they're talking about here, which I would love to see. I would love to see, honestly, Final Reckoning should be an AoE talent, in my opinion, that helps you, just burst stuff down in Mythic Plus. And I would love to see if they could actually make the Final Verdict build, whether that's through buffs or just making it better in general. Like, make Final Verdict build something cool and fun to play. Like, it's such a good Ret Paladin ability, Final Verdict is. And it's a shame that build isn't better. You see some use of it on, like, Senarth. And I tried it out on Senarth on one of the kills. I didn't do very well with it, but I would like to see that build be so much stronger, where you're not relying on Final Reckoning and building up all your 1 minutes and stuff. It's kind of lame for me, in my opinion. Survivability. Retribution Paladins currently have one of the highest death rates across all forms of content. For a plate wearing class with hybrid healing, sorry, this is hilarious. This doesn't feel right. We're looking to strengthen them through a mixture of passive bonus and improvements to active abilities and cooldowns, while keeping the degree of challenge that results from being a melee-based spec. So they're not trying to make us, like, overpowered as far as, like, being able to stand and stuff, but it's like, okay, everyone has, like, these cool things, and we just die to everything. I was watching a stream replay of our Prague the other night, and I couldn't help but notice, it was one of the healers' point of view. I couldn't help but notice that my health is always lower than everyone else's, and this particular healer was actually, like, always kind of keeping an eye on me, and it stinks being a Ret Paladin a lot of times. Maneuverability. Okay, so this is one that's like, try to set your expectations, guys. We recognize that there's an issue here, and we hope to make some improvements. However, we want to set clear expectations. Retribution Paladin should not expect to gain the mobility of rogues. So we're not going to be fast. You're not going to like it, but they're looking to maybe change something with the Divine Steed. I hope it's just less talent points. I hope it's just one talent. It's like what I said all along, right? If you watch my channel, I've said all along, if they're going to keep Divine Steed, then just 1 point should get you all the perks of Divine Steed. You shouldn't have to put a bunch of points into it. All they did was they removed one of the points, one of the seconds, but they didn't, like, add anything back or help you in any way. So they didn't actually listen, and that's what I expect to see here, is that it's going to be, Divine Steed's going to be better on its baseline, and then, like, maybe there'll be something else that makes it even slightly better or something. Utility. The changes that Dragonflight brought to Retribution have caused some conflict for players, forcing the Ret Paladin to choose between providing benefits to their groups or benefiting themselves. The choice can be interesting, but due to this to the way this historically worked for Paladins, it hasn't felt right in Dragonflight. So we're looking to make changes that allow you to feel good and improve your own damage while also providing the group benefits that you're used to. We're also looking to additional utility improvements for Paladins along with or during the 10.0.7 test cycle. So more improvements. So they're basically trying to make us have a way to keep our utility stuff, maybe making some of that baseline. And then they're also looking to maybe improve the utility as well. One thing I would love to see is to get rid of forbearance or to make it much shorter. There's nothing worse because now if our survival's higher, maybe that's different. But there's nothing worse than having to lay on hands yourself, and because you're trying to save your bubble for something important or whatever, or something you're scheduled to do for the raid, and you use your lay on hands, and then you need to bop or bubble to live. Like, it's just the way it is, and then you have forbearance and you can't use it. Oh my gosh, that feels awful. And I don't think any other spec has to deal with that in the entire game. So that's something that I would love to see there. Overall, this is extremely encouraging. We got news from them that, they were looking to, they gave us those slight buffs, and they said they were going to look to rework to fix our stuff a little bit. And it looks like we're getting a pretty heavy rework. I wouldn't say a full rework, but a pretty heavy rework here. And this is going to be really cool in my opinion. They've mentioned the biggest thing, survivability. This is going to increase your DPS. If you're someone who hates dying like me, and so you're wogging yourself sometimes, which you shouldn't do to do the most DPS, this is going to increase your DPS, right? It's less holy power healing yourself and stuff like that. So survivability going up, that's also a DPS increase in some ways. Making this simpler will at least be more fun for me, not for everybody. For me, the stacking modifier thing, I would love to see that be less. So that would be more fun for me. It doesn't necessarily mean more damage, but it does mean more fun. Less buttons means more fun for me. Again, I don't know about everyone else, but I use 28 keybinds, and that's that I use like on every raid fight. I use 28 keybinds, and that's just too many for me. Maybe I'm old, but 28 keybinds is too many. I don't like it. Maneuverability, obviously, like I said, we're not going to expect a world changer there. And then utility, I love to see this. I love to see the utility. I hate, I'm literally asking like my raid team and stuff like, oh, do you guys need me to take bop for this fight? Like, why do I not just have bop as a paladin? I mean, I think that's so lame. I think sacrifice is understandable to take. I think even cleanse can be, but for like freedom and bop are just such a staple of paladin that it's kind of lame that you have to take those, in my opinion, as talents. I would love to see that reworked as well, although it does appear that they're going to be working more on the retribution side, so maybe they can do something to enhance those things or something. I don't know, but I'm definitely interested to see where this is going. Obviously, I'll be following this extremely closely. I'll be on the PTR when this is actually testable. I'm probably not going to test it without the talents because it's going to be pointless, but I will I will be waited with bated breath for all these changes and stuff. I'm super excited about it. I didn't expect this. I'm very positively surprised here and very, very excited about it. So that's it for this one. I'll keep you very updated on this. As always, I do ask you to please subscribe to the channel. Helps me out a lot. And other than that, everybody, have a good one.